from the beginning, have decided to continue the series for another season. Neil had started production of a whole new batch of episodes when he was taken from us. We're going to air them all. As those of you who were with us last week know, we were showing the two-part program of Neil the Winner, hosted by some very good buddies of his. Here, then, is part 2.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the all-new Winners program with the all-new, greatly improved, extra power host, yours truly, Darrell Walter. We continue with our second part of the Neil Bonnett story. If you recall, last week we had divided Neil's life into parts before his April 1st, 1990 wreck and that which followed. We told you about Neil's family, his businesses. You saw his fish farm and his TV career, which all are about the same. Now, let's turn to the time before the accident, Neil Bonnett's racing career. Bonnett, the ultimate hunter and fisherman, has spent his life in Alabama.
What in the world does Darrell Waltrip know about hunting and fishing? And the Alabama game, he thinks that's Richard Petty's vocal group. I've had about all of this as I can take. Give me a sweater. All right, folks, how about this? Is this a real TV host or what? I tell you what, me and the head of the Alabama gang, Bobby Allison, will be right back with the real story about Neil Bonnett's life.
Winners is brought to you by Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later. And Autolite Spark Plugs and wire and cable products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go.
Hey, you know, my crew spends hundreds of hours building those 5,000 horsepower motors. I can explode one in 5 seconds. And when that happens, nobody eats. That's why my guys won't run anything but Fram fillers. You know, Fram gets the nasty stuff out of the oil, so I can go to the other end with my candles lit. And you know, that's in about 5 seconds, nearly 300 miles an hour. You can look at these guys and see they eat pretty near every day.
The all-new Subaru Legacy looks beautiful against a photographer's backdrop, but its true beauty is best seen against the elements. Subaru all-wheel drive is the ultimate safety feature. It reacts instantly, transferring power automatically from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip. So you can safely weather even the worst of weather. During Subaru Active Safety Days, lease an all-wheel drive Legacy for as low as $199 a month.
In racing, there's no margin for error. The crew follows the same procedures every time the car pulls into the pits. It's the same way at Jiffy Lube. We follow the same strict procedures more than 50,000 times a day. It's your assurance that when you bring your car to Jiffy Lube, the job will be done right. And Jiffy Lube offers Pennzoil. Jiffy Lube, the world's most experienced oil changers. That's why if it doesn't say Jiffy Lube, it just isn't Jiffy Lube.
Peerless Faucet didn't come up with the idea for a spout long and high enough to reach over and into large objects. We merely adapted it for the kitchen. High-rise faucet designs by Peerless. Get more out of your faucet than just water.
I don't need some fancy cologne to tell me I'm a man. I use Skin Bracer. It smells great, but it also cools and tones my skin. Confidence is very sexy, don't you think?
Original and cooling blue.
By Menon.
Bobby, you know, Neil started out down here in Alabama racing around you, and you were his idol back when he was young. What kind of driver was he when he started out?
He was kind of exciting, you know. He ran kind of hard and had some of that excitement. But he came to work for me as a mechanic. And he'd worked for me quite well for quite a while. And one day I said, Neil, what could I do to repay you for the help you've been around here? And he said, sometime when you get a chance, I'd like to drive your car. Well, right after that, I got asked to be in 2 different places the same night. And so I said, well, I'll take one car and go this way and let Neil take the other car and go that way. And so Neil did that trip for me, won the race.
Really?
He ran probably 60-some races in a period of about a year and a half, and he won about 40 of them. During that same period of time, I won about 20 of the ones I went to. And, you know, so I had to get kind of concerned that this guy might be taking my ride.
With your own car?
With my own car, yeah.
He was a hard driver, but he was a clean driver, and that's where we wanted him to be. And you know, he moved on up and showed himself in the Winston Cup, so naturally he was an established member in the Alabama game.
You can take most anybody and win a race now and then, but it's pretty tough to take a driver and win, you know, pretty regular. And Neil's one of them guys you can take and just go out and win any race they are out there.
Yeah, I always liked to run with Neil because you could always trust what Neil was going to do. He was very, very level-headed race car driver, and, you know, anytime you run 200 mile an hour, you like to be around people that are pretty level-headed, and he was really that.
A lot of times we'd have to slow him down, you know, to cool his tires down, and then he would run better, you know. But he knew that, and when it come down, a lot of times, I know a couple of times at Atlanta, he knew that if he cooled his tires down for 3 laps, he could come back and pass the guy. And so he waited until just a few laps to go, and he passed the guy on the last lap.
Neil always drove the win, too. He was aggressive, gave no quarter, very smart, and had an uncanny talent to know where to be at the right place and at the right time.
Neil Bonnett was as tough as they come, and, you know, he don't have a neck. It's about that big anyhow, so he never had any fatigue, you know, or anything like that. And places like Rockingham and Dover and places like that, he was awesome. He was, you know, just like Cale Yarborough. The longer the race, the harder the race, the better he run.
Neil Bonnett was fearless, you know. He would, I mean, he said, get the car close, you know, and I'll take it up front. And, you know, I respect him as a gentleman, and he was a great driver.
When Neil was working for my dad several years ago or out of my dad's shop, you could go there any time of the day or night and find him working on his race cars or doing whatever anybody needed for him to do.
Through the years, I've really
come
observed
from?
Neil closely. As a matter of fact,
Wait a minute. Walter, you're out of here. Bobby and me's gonna handle this deal. We got this under control. Bonnett was born on July 30th, 1946, in Birmingham, Alabama. He was the only son of L.C. Bonnett and Josie Bonnett.
He was like all boys. He was a typical boy, I can tell you that. But he wasn't bad to get in fights, you know, and things like most of them. And he'd laugh when the others would get in one and stand off and laugh at them.
He was a good child. He never got us in trouble. And I tried to help him and give him all the help I could, anything he wanted to do.
And he always loved to wear his cowboy suits and play with the kids in the yard. And one Christmas, he and a bunch of little boys got a cowboy suit for Christmas, and they wore their cowboy suits and guns to church.
Neil was really involved in everything. Come on, baseball, or football. And when he was little, we saw him fishing all the time. He'd always want to do something. So we tried to keep him in something, you know, so to keep him occupied.
His daddy carried him to all the races that he could find.
There was a little dirt track over here on the other side of town, and we'd get up and go early in the day because they didn't have any grandstands or anything to it, no guardrails, and we'd just carry our lunch, park in the woods, and we'd eat lunch before the race started. And he really enjoyed that. He always liked cars. So I bought him a car, and I knew he was treating him pretty rough, but he'd sneak off and go drag racing with it.
When I met Neil, he was in high school, and he had no aspirations of being a race driver at that time. That kind of came along years later. We used to attend the races after we got married, and he got more and more involved with it. And I think the first race he drove was in 1968.
He was running the cadet division, kind of an amateur division, and it was winning everything. And I had some sportsman cars, and his wheel had kind of run off. It had a couple of wrecks and lost a couple of cars, and he was kind of down, and I was kind of down.
Neil was working as a pipe fitter's apprentice, going to school 2 nights a week to become a pipe fitter.
I'll never forget, I went to work one day, and this was the time I was racing. I'd work during the week, and I'd race on the weekends. And I know you've been down that road part-time racing. I went up on the 20th floor of this building, and the lunch whistle blew. Well, I had my little bitty sack with my bologna sandwich and my cookie in it, you know, and we sat down to eat, so I wrapped one arm around this beam, and I'm trying to eat a sandwich hanging on this beam, and this guy sitting beside me, 60-something years old, and there's 20 foot of air under him, you know. And we're eating, and I'm hanging on this deal, and he says, "Son, you still messing with them race cars?" And I said, he said, "You're going to get hurt one day." And he's got 20 foot of air, 20 stories of air under him. I got thinking, I mean, this guy's crazy. I got to get out of this business.
Folks, from what we've heard so far, it sounds like that Neil Bonnett would have made a pretty good pipe fitter. Bobby Allison and I will be right back to tell you what went wrong in just a minute.
Brought to you by Pennzoil, the motor oil you can rely on for performance, protection, and quality.
In racing, there's no margin for error. The crew follows the same procedures every time the car pulls into the pits. It's the same way at Jiffy Lube. We follow the same strict procedures more than 50,000 times a day. It's your assurance that when you bring your car to Jiffy Lube, the job will be done right. And Jiffy Lube offers Pennzoil. Jiffy Lube, the world's most experienced oil changers. That's why if it doesn't say Jiffy Lube, it just isn't Jiffy Lube.
There's one name these drivers turn to for the quality parts that give their cars the edge they need to perform and win. The same name you should turn to for the only parts guaranteed to perform in your Chrysler Corporation vehicle. Authentic Mopar parts, available from your Chrysler Corporation dealer. Get real. Get Mopar.
Mario, I haven't seen a change like this since I was knee-high to a June bug.
And I was as surprised as you are.
Well, I should have seen it coming.
Maybe so, but now I think we ought to accept this change, embrace it, be positive about it, because change can be very exciting.
You're probably right, Mario. I guess I'll get used to Doritos' new bag.
There you go.
This year's big change is Doritos. More flavor, new shape, new bag.
Too bad about the Cowboys, Ann.
They always won when I was governor.
RT Eastman Productions presents a special limited video offer. Witness the largest collection of live trophy mule deer ever filmed. Unbelievable close photography that shows you the struggle for dominance between huge trophy mule deer. Call now toll-free to receive Extreme Bucks Part 1 for $9.99, a 50% savings. Or order both Extreme Bucks 1 and Extreme Bucks Part 2 for $29.98. Call now, 1-800-251-BUCK.
Neil Bonnett's accomplishments are highlighted by 18 Winston Cup victories in some 360 starts. He won the Coca-Cola 600 at Charlotte twice, and he won it back-to-back. His first victory, 1977 on the old half mile at Richmond, Virginia. He was the first driver to win the Busch Clash back-to-back. The only other driver to duplicate that feat, the great Dale Earnhardt. Whether it was short tracks or long tracks, Neil Bonnett was always the match of any Winston Cup driver when he cinched up the seatbelt.
Ken Squire, I like him. He does nice work.
He's better than Walter. Probably tell us about the first time you saw Neil.
I guess he was at the end of being a teenager, you know, was really a youngster, and just wanted to go out there and go racing, and I was involved with some other guys here in town.
Was he about, what, about 18 then?
Yeah, I would say he was 18, 19 years old. And
you were about 20?
I might have been a little bit further down than that, you know.
What about the, I remember talking about the drink box car or a Coke machine or something. What kind of...
Well, the phrase was really a little bit disrespectful. You know, I had the Coke machine. I had Coke sponsorship back then, and I had the Coke machine, and the term for Neil's car was the drink box, but they didn't really mean drink. They just meant box, and kind of referred to his car from
Changed the front of it a little bit, huh?
Yeah.
So you had the worst car, huh?
Yeah. Being that I was considered the boss, I did take the best car every time I got a chance.
Yeah, I would too.
What was fun about doing that is Bobby had sat in the office, and just like you get offers for personal appearances all the time, they said, can you be in Houston, Texas this week? No, I can't be there, but I'll send Neil Bonnett, and here goes this Neil who. And Bobby said, get in the truck, go to Houston, Texas. I said, man, I ain't never been out of Alabama. Yeah, go out to Houston, unload the car, and so-and-so's won all the races. You try to beat him. Yeah. So I'd go out there and unload the race car, and, you know, at that time we had good enough equipment. I could go out there and we'd unload, we'd win the race, and I'd leave, and it was really Neil who. Yeah. Who was that guy? Yeah. And it got to be like a bunch of renegades traveling all over the country.
I remember you telling me that.
And boy, I had a lot of fun doing that.
When I first met Neil Bonnett, you know, he was kind of a snotty-nosed little kid out at Birmingham Fairground Speedway, and you know, I didn't know too much about Neil at that time, and I was very careful when I was around him in a race car.
Well, Neil, you know, he's, I guess you would call him the fourth member of the Alabama gang. It started off, you know, with Bobby Allison and myself. There's two original members in it, and then with Donnie. That started off the Alabama gang was the original three. And as time went on, Neil Bonnett, who was an up-and-coming driver, you know, from the Birmingham area in the limited class, but moved up into our class of racing, and become well-known and started doing real good, and showed himself as being a championship type of driver that we kind of wanted to add to our gang. So we added Neil to, he was the fourth member of the Alabama gang.
Well, after a while, Neil got to winning a few races, and I think that was the criteria of getting into the Alabama gang. Red had won, Bobby had won, I had won. Finally, Neil started winning, so I said, I guess we can take him in the Alabama gang.
Neil was a highly competitive guy. You know, he felt like every race he went into, he's going to win. And I remember most about his racing, he was just like a bulldog. You know, harder and longer the race was, the more he played a part in it.
He's a very hard driver, you know. He just never give up. In fact, sometimes we thought he drove a little bit too hard, and but he was just a great guy to work with.
Neil was always more concentrating on the car. He was one of the first drivers to understand that a driver had to have the right car. So he was a nuts and bolts type of guy. Wanted to make sure that the chassis setup was correct and so forth. When other drivers hadn't learned that yet.
Neil was a great race driver. He drove for me 3 years, and we won races and sat on the pole and stuff like that a lot with Neil.
Neil Bonnett was a Junior Johnson driver. He was out of the mold of Bobby Allison and Cale Yarborough, and that means he was aggressive, and that means he could be a mean driver. Earnhardt has that streak in him. And yet, when he gets out of that race car, I think the word is integrity. That's the word for Neil Bonnett. He has a lot of integrity.
A lot of people say Neil's a nice guy. It's a lot deeper than that. He's got a $1 million personality and a $1 million heart. And what's most important, it's never any different whoever you are. He's always the same. Neil Bonnett is a winner.
When I come back to a place like Charlotte Motor Speedway, I can't help but think of some of the things that's happened in the past. Had a real bad wreck here a few years back. Went in the third turn, knocked the fence down, coasted all the way around the fourth turn, right down into the grass in the infield, and the car stopped. Broken leg, all kind of injuries. Toughest shape I've ever been in, just about in my career. Don't let me mislead you. When I come to Charlotte Motor Speedway, the wreck's not what stands out in my mind. The thing I think about was pulling right here in Victory Lane at this big racetrack 2 years in a row in '82 and '83. Won the 600, which was one of the toughest races on the circuit, back-to-back. Was a lot of fun.
Neil was a great driver. Now I hear he's doing a lot of fishing with Dale Earnhardt. But I guess he's not catching much.
Have you been fishing in this lake before?
Yeah, why?
Well, you know where the fish is at?
Huh?
You know where the fish is at?
Where are they?
I don't know. Do you?
I had a couple strikes right on that dam right there a while ago. Caught one fish. I look back out at the fence post.
Well, I tried to tell you he's going the wrong way.
Oh, yeah.
You better throw over before that truck comes by to run them out.
Think so?
We ain't, but in 3 or 4 foot of water.
You think you'll melt in the rain?
I'll melt.
I ain't worried about melting. I'm worried about melting that stuff over our head up here.
I said I'll melt.
I got here a while ago when it was raining real hard, and the hair was standing up on my arm. How long you had that bush shop over here operating?
Yeah, they've been over there, this is going on the 3rd year, I think.
3rd year? That don't sound right. I remember when I came over here, you ain't done nothing over here one time. Early, long. Been that long?
You better move.
I got the idea.
Oh, Hank caught that 11-pounder right here.
Who?
Hank.
Ooh, let me get out there and help. See if I can find it. Put it back in?
Yeah. I mean, you put it in there to start with.
And if they're not out fishing, they're testing cars somewhere. I know where.
Back in May when we was testing, that helped me a bunch when we started running better. Then we won the race in May at Charlotte.
I don't think that entered into it.
Yeah, it did too, because what we found out on this car, and it sort of backed up what we was trying on that other car. So that was sort of the basis of running it and testing it. And, you know, give you some time too. I think that's why you quit. You don't want to get back on the racetrack with me. Afraid I'll bust your butt.
It was Dave. Now the only time I get the challenge is fishing and hunting.
Yeah, but see, if you remember correctly, you got the last lick in. It's my turn.
Where?
Richmond.
When I ran into you?
Yeah, after I run into you.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to. You did it on purpose.
No, I didn't mean too much.
That's fun, though, wasn't it?
We had a good time.
Dale Earnhardt is Neil's best friend. And I hope I'm Neil's best friend, too, at least outside of racing, because I love him dearly.
You know, for all the races he's won and all the success he has, Neil's wrinkled some sheet metal and bent some race cars.
Yeah, hadn't we all?
Wearing those tires out like the eraser on the top of
Richmond, 1985.
Number 12, spinning.
Nashville, 1984.
Neil Bonnett all the way around. Brutman spins. Oh, cow.
Rockingham, 1985.
Also, that's Neil Bonnett in it. Bonnett.
Rockingham, 1980.
Earnhardt slams on the brakes to miss him.
Oh, it just missed him.
I'll tell you.
Yeah, nobody got him that time. Good deal, good deal. Here he goes again.
Yeah. I'll tell you what now, that's really putting the excitement to it there.
Hey, wait, time out, guys. Wait just a minute. This is my den, my show. You got my sweaters on and watching my wrecks and getting a chuckle out of it.
Yeah, Neil, wait a minute.
Hey, wait a minute. Oh, don't tell me to wait a minute. The strap's got to stop.
Wait a minute, sit down here.
Whoa, wait a minute. This is mine.
Well, no. Sit down here. Watch this. You ain't believe this one. This is good stuff now. We've been watching this for quite a while.
Yeah, but I heard you laughing down here.
No. This is Daytona. You blew up and start finishing line.
You ain't never wrecked.
And you slid by. You just missed the end of this wall. Watch this. Just missed. Ooh. Was that close? You had control of it, didn't you?
Make that move right there.
That's true. That is.
See, this is good stuff.
Now at Pep Boys, get any four 35,000-mile Cornell 800 all-season tires at an incredible low $99.96. That's right, any size, any set of four, just $99.96 at Pep Boys now. No matter what you drive, Pep Boys motor oil meets or exceeds virtually all manufacturer's specifications. Now only 79 cents a quart, just $9.48 a case. That's right, 79 cents a quart, $9.48 a case, only at Pep Boys.
I love my new hot rod. Those flames scare the other guys. 5,000 horsepower helps too. And a fat bankroll. You know, we've been running Autolite spark plugs forever, but I could wring more money out of someone else. Money's good. My crew burns it. So I tell the guys we're going to run a different plug. They say no. I say I'm the boss. They say Autolite keeps this monster lit. So I tell them I was just kidding.
Maybe it's not another lure you need. Maybe it's a whole new reel. A Sigma bait cast reel with rugged machine-cut gears and Unilock anti-reverse. New from Shakespeare.
The all-wheel drive cars from Subaru. It only takes a moment to appreciate their beauty. A moment like this. The very moment it takes Subaru all-wheel drive to instantly transfer power from the wheels that slip to the wheels that grip, giving you the traction you need to help you stay out of trouble. because the best safety feature a car can have is one that can help you stay out of an accident. During active safety days, lease an all-wheel drive Legacy for as low as $199 a month.
Folks, can you believe this? Well, let me tell you something, Bobby. I owe you an awful lot for helping me get started in racing. And, man, all those years we had racing together, that was a lot of fun.
You worked for it, Neil, and you earned it. And I'm really pleased to see that you achieved the success that you did.
Thank you, Bobby. Bill, I tell you what, you've been a good friend. And all those years we raced together, we kind of beat on each other a little bit. But, man, was it a lot of fun. And good hunting and fishing, buddy. But you just slip around and let me catch the biggest fish most of the time.
Let you catch the biggest fish, man. I've enjoyed this, but wait till next time we go fishing. We'll see who gets the biggest fish.
Folks, I have a great family, I think, also. I might not say it every day. Mom, Dad, Susan, kids, you're the best. And folks, I owe you too for the support you've given me in all my careers. I'm particularly grateful for the success you've made of our Winners show. I'm awful glad to have it.
And so, ladies and gentlemen, if you really enjoyed me as your brand new host, then tune in again next week. This is your friend, Darrell Walker, inviting you to come back for another exciting episode of the all-new Winners program, coming to you from the heart of beautiful downtown Franklin, Tennessee, my hometown.
Oh, wait a minute. That's enough of that. He's got to go.
Winners has been brought to you by Autolite Spark Plugs and wire and cable products. Autolite Spark Plugs, guaranteed for 2 years no matter how far you go. And Fram Filter Products. Fram, you can pay a little now or a lot later.
The Bonnett family has suggested that you consider a donation to the National Head Injury Foundation, 1776 Massachusetts Avenue, Washington, D.C., 20036.
Now, see what they make you do to do TV. When I get lipstick, I'm quitting. 3,500 pounds of race car, didn't think about it. We'll see people alone. You see the black here, that was 1992 when we were here last. 280 degrees, 280 inches of spores at 35 degrees. If you look at the white here, that's how much we can do this if they don't mind that ourselves, because you move.
Yes, ma'am.
Or we could do this. If they're not real careful, we could go